So who really knows anything anymore? Maybe an odd way to start this podcast, but sit back for a minute and think about that. Politically speaking, everything that's happened over the last 4 or 5 years, everything that's happened in this country politically since 2015, the past 6 years. Who could have predicted most of what's happened? I look at what I've been through. I never would have. I never would have guessed this, right? I look at my journey. I don't. Who can predict anything anymore? Like Donald Trump. Freaking Donald Trump was elected president back in 2016. Don't tell me that you know what's what. Don't tell me that you, and I won't tell you that I am an expert on politics. Not after what we've been through. I feel like we really don't know much of anything. We're in uncharted territory here. We're out there on the wide open sea. Much of what's happened these past 5 or 6 years, if I would have told you 10, 15, 20 years ago, you'd shake your head. You'd throw something at me. If I'd have told you 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, Donald freaking Trump is going to be the 45th president of this country, you would have said I'm smoking something. If I would have told you 15, 20 years ago that a sitting American president would be impeached twice, you'd throw something at me. If I would have told you 15, 20 years ago that a sitting American president would encourage and pressure foreign governments to fuck with our elections, you wouldn't believe it. If I would have told you 20 years ago that for the first time in American history, a sitting American president who lost refused to give up power, you would have said I'm crazy. And if I would have told you 10, 15 years ago that hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Americans would have attacked the United States Capitol to try to violently overturn an American election, you would have demanded I get professional help. If I would have told you there would be an insurrection in this country, you would have said, Joe, man, you've lost it. So, look, I mean it genuinely when I say who really knows anything anymore? I get it. This is like we're living in a world right now, man, politically we ain't never seen before. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't know what's going to happen next month, next year, you name it. And it's not just Trump. Joe Biden's almost 80 years old and he's president. If I'd have told you 10, 15 years ago that Joe Biden, almost 80, is going to get elected, you wouldn't have believed me. So who really knows anything anymore? But here's what I think I know today. Just a couple things I'm going to put in front of you today. What I think I know. And again, the context is why I'm about to tell you what I think I know. Playing a fool's game, right? None of us know anything. But here's what I know. The context is, and you know this because of where I come from. I come from Trump's world. I come from the world of the Trump supporter. I come from that gang. I come from that universe. I engage with hundreds and thousands of Trump supporters every day, even though I no longer have my radio show because it got taken away from me because I opposed Donald Trump and I lost my radio show again because of it. Even without the radio show, I'm still engaging with hundreds and thousands of Trump supporters, Republican base voters every day. So based on that, based on what I hear from them, based on what they tell me, here's what I think I know today. And just two I'll put in front of you. Number one, Donald Trump is running for president again. He's going to run in 2024. And by the way, part of that is, this is still part of number one, Trump's running. I'm really confident of that. Unless he can't. Unless he's no longer with us. Unless he's in jail. He's running. I know people who know he wants to run. He genuinely believes he won in 2020. He genuinely believes he could beat Joe Biden. He's running. I believe he's running. By the way, again, part of number one, if Trump runs, and I believe he is, that's what I think I know. You know, and I know, he'll win the Republican Party nomination. No contest. No mas, no mas, as Roberto Duran said. He will be the Republican Party nominee. No Republican will challenge him. I know there are people who think, oh, DeSantis will, and but if Trump comes out and says he's running, I don't think you'll see a Republican challenge him. Not a Republican of any kind of stature. I think he's running. That's what I think I know. Number two, and I'll spend more time on number two. These indictments today against Trump's CFO, Alan Weisselberg, and the Trump Organization, these indictments don't mean shit. Anything short of Donald Trump behind bars, anything short of that will only strengthen Trump. I know what you're saying. No. Yes, among Republican voters. Unless Trump is behind bars in the next couple of years, he's in jail in the next couple of years, anything short of that, man, helps him, emboldens him, strengthens him, makes him a martyr, causes Republican voters to rally around him, yell and cry and scream, witch hunt, they're going after our Lord and Savior. Anything short of him being in jail will only strengthen him as a candidate. So anybody who says that, oh my God, look what happened today. 15 count indictment against the Trump organization and against the CFO, Trump CFO. Oh my God, they were cheating on their taxes. Oh my God, a tax scheme, a fraudulent tax scheme. 15 counts. Big deal. Doesn't matter. See, like a lot of breathless people on CNN today, when these indictments came down, a lot of breathless people on MSNBC, 24-page indictment. Oh my God, right? The Trump organization is dead. This could just be step one. First series of indictments, getting at Donald Trump, whatever, Junior, whatever, Eric Trump, whatever. Oh my God. Alan Weisselberg's going to flip on Trump. Oh my God. Folks on CNN and MSNBC have been breathless today, Thursday, announcing this indictment. Now on Fox News, it's been kind of funny because they haven't even really talked about it. It's been a riot. Fox News has had a tough day. They can't talk about the indictment, so they got to ignore all of that. They can't talk about the select committee, Liz Cheney being put on the select committee, so they got to ignore all of that. They really don't want to talk about Joe Biden, the healer in chief down in Florida, consoling the families of the victims, by the way. So they got to ignore that. So Fox News, man, they got to reach deep into their bag of greatest hits. Critical race theory. I saw a story this morning on Fox News about how some poll Americans aren't proud of being an American anymore. That's the kind of shit they're going to put on Fox News all day because Fox News can't talk about the news. The indictments, the select committee, Joe Biden spending 3 hours with the families of the victims. You heard me right. President Joe Biden spent, and it could have and would have gone on longer. President Biden spent 3 hours privately with the families of the victims down in Florida. That's something. That's wonderful. Fox News can't talk about all of that. But MSNBC and CNN, man, they're breathless about the indictment against Trump's CFO and against the Trump organization. Let me tell you something, everybody listening to me. Let me tell you something, CNN and MSNBC. Doesn't mean shit. What happened today to Trump's CFO, and I don't think he's going to flip, what happened today against the Trump organization, a 15-year scheme, tax scheme to avoid paying taxes, it will not do shit to Donald Trump. Look at here. Republican voters don't care. It doesn't matter to them what Trump's CFO did. It doesn't matter to them what the Trump organization did, cheating on their taxes. They're not paying Republican voters are not paying attention to the story. The Republican base, it's only going to cause them to. What happened today? And Trump's already put out a statement, witch hunt, they're coming after you. When they come after me, they're coming after you. Trump put that statement out. When they come after me for tax fraud, they're really coming after you. All of you. And you know what? His base believes it. So again, this goes to what I said earlier. This will strengthen Trump among Republican voters, among the Republican base. This will cause them to view him again as the attacked, the one being attacked, the martyr. They will rally around him. Other just Republican voters, doesn't matter to them. Doesn't matter. And again, this is, if you're Trump, this is all you care about besides yourself and money. You care about how you stand with Republican voters. And this indictment against Alan Weisselberg and the Trump Organization today doesn't mean shit to Republican voters. And look, guys, so we were reminded today with this indictment that Donald Trump, is a tax cheat. He's a liar. He's a rule breaker. He's a crook. Well, no, wait a minute. Where's the story? Where's the news? So if you're paying attention today in this indictment against Trump's company and Trump's CFO, all it tells you is, okay, Donald Trump is a tax cheat, he's a liar, he's a rule breaker, and he's a crook. Yeah. That's what we learned today. That's what we were reminded of today. Let me just tell you something. We already knew that. And even worse, Trump's supporters, they already know he's a tax cheat and a liar and a rule breaker and a crook, and they don't care. They don't care. They've known that for the last number of years. They don't care that he's a cheater. They don't care that he's a liar. They don't care that he's a crook. So what we found out today, big fucking deal. We already know that. They don't care. And in fact, again, this is what I hear every day. And I've heard every day for the past 4 or 5 years. They don't care that Donald Trump is a crook. That's not completely accurate. Some of them, many of them do care. And it's why they like him. I mean that. And I think you know that. And I've heard this plenty over the last 4 or 5 years. A lot of his supporters love the fact that he lies and gets away with it. They wish they could lie and get away with it like Donald Trump does. A lot of his supporters love the fact that he cheats in every aspect of life and gets away with it, because a lot of his supporters wish they could cheat and get away with it. A lot of his supporters care about and like the fact that he fucks this country over on his taxes, because they wish they could do it and get away with it. And I've had a lot of Trump supporters tell me they know Trump's a crook. They know he breaks the law. And you know what? They like it. Because he gets away with it. And they live through that. They live through him. They live for him. Because a lot of these folks, right, there's a part of them that wishes they could be a crook and get away with it. So it's not 100% accurate of me to say that Trump supporters know he's a crook and a liar and a cheat, and they don't care. Many of them don't care that he's that. They don't care that he's bad. Who cares? But plenty of them do. And they live through that. They live for him. Because a lot of these folks, right, there's a part of them that wishes they could be a crook and get away with it. So it's not 100% accurate of me to say that Trump supporters know he's a crook and a liar and a cheat, and they don't care. Many of them don't care that he's that. They don't care that he's bad. Who cares? But plenty of them do. And maybe this is even worse, but that's why they like him. You know, and as I say that out loud, I'm thinking that is even worse. It's like, you know, he's a murderer, and that's why you like him, because he can kill people and get away with it. Final point I want to make. And by the way, this is all going back to the two things I think I know today. Trump is running in 2024, and none of this indictment shit against the Trump organization means shit. None of it matters. Unless Donald Trump is behind bars, anything else that happens to him will only strengthen him as a candidate, as a cult leader. That's the most important thing I think I know. Anything short of him being in jail, man, makes him a stronger, more omnipresent cult leader. Final point to buttress that thing I think I know. Come on, guys. Because of Donald Trump, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Americans died during this pandemic. And his supporters don't care. Because of Trump's uncaring, hundreds of thousands of Americans died. Because of Trump's incompetence, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Americans died. And they still support him. Trump's a traitor, and they still support him. Trump stood with Putin and not our own people, and they still support him. I mean, so he cheats on his taxes? So he breaks the rules? Donald Trump's the most corrupt, most incompetent, most dangerous. Donald Trump is un-American. Donald Trump attacked our democracy and attacks our democracy every day, and his supporters still support him. Donald Trump incited an insurrection, and his people still support him. You think they're going to care that he cheated on his taxes? That he and his accountant fudged numbers and played games? Hundreds of thousands of Americans died because of Trump. And they still support him. This investigation into the Trump organization doesn't mean shit against him politically. Hey, this is Joe Walsh. Thank you for listening. This is Fuck Silence. That's the name of the podcast. Go to fsilencepodcast.com. F as in Frank, fsilencepodcast.com. Go there. Subscribe. Please subscribe. Like, share, rate, all of that. Please subscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. It'll just give you a heads up every time a new episode drops. As well, you will get, if you subscribe, you'll get put onto a list, and you will be the first to know what I am doing next. And I am announcing something here really, really soon. I promise you, this voice, this crazy voice, man, you're going to be able to hear every single day. Again, you're going to find out about it. Get put on the list. You get put on the list to find out about it. Well, heck, follow me on Twitter at WalshFreedom, at WalshFreedom. Subscribe to Fuck Silence. Go to fsilencepodcast.com. Go there and subscribe. You'll get put on the list. Or send me an email. JoeWalshShow1@gmail.com. JoeWalshShow, 1 @gmail.com. One more time. JoeWalshShow, 1 @gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Tell me that you'd like to be on the list so you know what I'm doing next. And we will put you on the list. Won't cost you a darn thing. You know the deal, right? Lost the radio show about a month or so ago. I've got I got a couple new platforms coming up here in the next couple of weeks that you will be able to access and hear my voice as often as you want. So I really do appreciate you hanging in there with me. It's been a rough few weeks, a rough few months, a rough few years in this era of Trump for me. But I have a next move, and I think you'll like my next move. So shoot me an email, joewalshshow1@gmail.com, or subscribe to this podcast, fsilencepodcast.com, or follow me on Twitter, as always, @WalshFreedom. Thank you for listening. I'll crank out another episode, I think, tomorrow. So you'll get 2 at the end of this week. As always, thank you for listening. Be brave out there. Be brave.